Okay then. So good morning, everyone. Last class we discussed few details about strain gauge. Just to recollect, those who missed the last class, strain gauge is a sensor transducer which is used for strain measurement, and we also saw in the last class how it can be used for measurement of force as well. Just to remember, just to recollect, yes, what the chat says. Okay, good morning, Shrutika. If you just remember, last class we discussed that strain gauge is nothing but a conducting wire, a thin conducting wire of diameter having to the scale of few microns. म्हणजे अगदी thin wire असते ती, made up of electrically conducting material, and this thin wire is used as a strain gauge. Now, what property of this conducting wire is utilized for measurement of strain? Just to recollect, the resistance of any conducting wire, R, is dependent upon, if you remember, what was the relationship between R and length of the wire? R was equal to rho into L by A. What is this rho? Rho is the resistivity of the material. जे काही conducting material आहे, maybe copper आहे किंवा some copper alloy, त्याची resistivity is designated by rho. So rho is a material property. So resistance of any conducting wire is dependent mainly on the resistivity, the material property. Then it is dependent upon length of that conducting wire, and it is dependent upon cross-sectional area of that conducting wire. Now rho we are not going to change. The material is going to remain the same. But what will be the variable out of, as I just repeat, R is equal to rho into L by A. So R is proportional to rho, that is resistivity. R is directly proportional to length of the wire, and R is inversely proportional to the cross-sectional area of the wire, isn't it? So rho we are not going to change. Cross-sectional area of the wire also we are not going to change. Only variable will be length of the wire. So this thin wire of some specified length, if it is pulled, let us say, if it is subjected to tensile forces, so it's because of elastic property of that material, conducting wire material, it will be extended. There will be some change in the length of the wire. If the original length is L, the change in length will be DL or delta L. Now, because of this small change in length L, what is going to happen to the resistance of the wire? I repeat, R is equal to rho into L by A. The resistance of the wire is directly proportional to rho. It is directly proportional to length of the wire. It is inversely proportional to the cross-sectional area of the wire. Now, out of these three variables, what is changing? Rho is not changing, isn't it? Resistivity is not changing. Cross-sectional area is also not changing, but length is changing. So with increase in length, there will be increase in resistance. If we go by the relationship, R is equal to rho into L by A. As L increases, R also increases. So what happens if this conducting wire is subjected to tensile strain? The resistance of the wire is going to increase. If it is subjected to compressive strain, the resistance of the wire is going to decrease. Now this property is used for measurement of strain that is induced in the specimen material. आतापर्यंत जे बोललो आपण त्या conducting wire बद्दल बोललो. Now, whatever member I have got, suppose I have got a rectangular cross-sectional cantilever beam. A cantilever beam अशी समजू आपण, which has got rectangular cross-section. It has a cantilever beam, a end fixed है, and at this end I am going to apply the load. बरोबर आहे की नाही? Now, because of this load, point load, what is going to happen to this beam? This beam is having, let us say, cross-sectional area of rectangular cross-sectional area. When I subject this cantilever beam, which is fixed at one end and the free end is subjected to external load, what is going to happen? Because of this load, depending on the length of the beam, F into L will be the bending moment acting on this beam, and because of this there will be some bending stresses induced in this beam material. Now because of this bending stress, right, there will be some strain on the surface of this beam. On the top surface will be subjected to tensile strain. Try to visualize when I try to bend this, the top surface will be subjected to tensile strain and the bottom surface will be subjected to compressive strain, isn't it? So this specimen material is subjected to tensile strain as well as compressive strain. Suppose I want to measure the force. This 10 gauge, I am going to use it as a force transducer or a load cell or load transducer. A force wala measure करायचा. How I am going to use strain gauge for this? So I'll be mounting the strain gauge maybe on the top surface of this beam. Upon just now we saw the principle of strain gauge. When the strain gauge is mounted or bonded to the top surface of this beam, when I load this beam, this specimen material will be subjected to tensile strain. Top surface will be subjected to tensile surface strain. Now, when this top surface is having a strain gauge firmly mounted on it, that strain gauge will also be subjected to tensile strain. So, because of load, there will be stresses induced. Because of stresses, depending upon E of the modulus of elasticity of the material, there will be some strain that is induced in this material. And that strain is now transferred to my strain gauge material. Now, because of this tensile strain acting on the strain gauge material, the strain gauge will undergo resistance change. Let us say that strain gauge is undergoing resistance change of delta R. Now that delta R will be proportional to delta L, to which that strain gauge material is subjected to. Now that delta L will be same as delta L on the specimen material. Okay. Now that delta L will be dependent on what? Dependent upon the stress that is induced in this material and E of this modulus of elasticity of this material, isn't it? And then the stress that is induced in this material is dependent upon force. So force into the distance, please be attentive, force F into the cantilever distance L will be the bending moment, isn't it? Bending moment M, let us say, that bending moment M divided by section modulus. Section modulus hai. Maybe if it is a rectangular section, it will be 1/6 BT square. All right, this section modulus kasa ala? Z, section modulus Z, upon strength of material मध्ये शिकलो. Section modulus Z of this rectangular beam material. Rectangular beam will be I, moment of inertia, upon Y. Now what is this Y? Y is the distance of the outermost fiber from the neutral axis. Now, what will be the plane of bending? ह्याचा जो क्रॉस सेक्शन आहे त्याच्या सेंटर मधून एक मी लाईन मारली, that will be the neutral axis. Now that neutral axis, if the thickness of this beam is, let us say, T, so the neutral axis will be at T/2. Are you attentive? The neutral axis of this cantilever beam, bending cantilever beam, the neutral axis will be at T/2. The बरोबर center of this beam la माझा neutral axis असेल आणि distance of the outermost fiber from the neutral axis is T/2. And what is the I of the rectangular beam? 1/12 B. B is width of this beam. B into T cube. So I is 1/12 BT cube. And what is I by y? Y is the distance of the outermost fiber from the neutral axis. That is y by 2. That is t by 2. So 1 by 12 bt cube upon t by 2 will be 1 by 6 bt square will be the section modulus of this rectangular beam. कुठपर्यंत आलो आपण? I am applying force F which is to be measured. Force transducer म्हणून वापरायचा मला. So that force F into L cantilever distance, beam length will be bending moment M. That bending moment M divided by Z section modulus. ज्याचे युनिट काय असतील? mm cubed. 1 by 6 b into t square. T चा m square, millimeter square आणि thickness चा width चा 1 mm. So mm cube. So m which is Newton upon millimeter square. Bending moment, sorry, m काय असेल? Newton millimeter. Force into distance, that will be Newton millimeter, and divided by Z will be mm cubed. बरोबर आहे की नाही? So what will remain? I'll be getting bending stress sigma b. That is sigma b is bending stress. That will be equal to m by Z. So that force is converted into stress now. Now this stress upon strain will be equal to E. Stress upon strain is equal to E. E is modulus of velocity of the material, which will be known to me. So F into L will be M. M upon Z will be stress sigma B. Sigma B upon strain will be equal to E. So epsilon strain will be equal to sigma B upon E. Those who have pen, just note it down so that you can understand it clearly. Write down sigma B upon strain epsilon is equal to E. So strain epsilon will be equal to stress upon E. So stress is known to me. How I know the stress? F into L is bending moment. Z is section modulus. I know the section properties. So I know sigma B. I know E of the material. So I know the strain. Now this strain that is induced in the specimen material. Now that strain will be transferred to the strain gauge now, isn't it? So this strain gauge now, a strain gauge will receive this strain, and because of this strain, there will be change in resistance of the strain gauge material, delta R. Now that strain epsilon will be converted into delta R. Let us see once again. My objective is to measure this force F. But what I am getting delta R. If I am able to measure delta R corresponding to this load F, एकदा delta R मिळाला, delta R वरनं मी काय काढणार? Delta R वरनं I know delta R is proportional to epsilon. Delta R वरनं epsilon काढला. Epsilon वरनं काय काढणार? If I know epsilon, we know stress upon strain is equal to E. E I know, epsilon I just now measured through a strain gauge. So E into epsilon will give me stress. Now once I know stress value sigma B, are you attentive? Once I know the sigma B value, now this sigma B value I have obtained from strain gauge now. How? Just be attentive. Strain gauge, when the beam is subjected to force F, I don't know this force F now. I want to measure this force F. But because of this force F, what has happened? Bending stress is induced. Because of bending stress, strain is induced. Because of strain, the strain gauge is subjected to length change. And that length change will be projected in the form of delta R. That delta R I am going to measure. So delta R is known to me now. I don't know F, but delta R I know experimentally. Force लावल्यानंतर resistance change झाला, that delta R I have measured. But I want to find out F. Now once I know delta R, I know the relationship between delta R and epsilon. So I find out from delta R, I find out epsilon. Once I find out epsilon, and if I know the E value, modulus of velocity of this beam material. So stress upon strain is equal to E. Strain now I have measured through my strain gauge. Strain into E will give me stress value. Some number I'll get stress. Now stress is equal to M upon Z. Section modulus. Z मला माहिती आहे. Stress मला माहिती आहे. Z मला माहिती आहे. What I can find out? Stress into this Z will give me M, bending moment value. The bending moment is nothing but this force into distance. Force I don't know, but the distance I know. So M ची value, bending moment मला माहित झाला, some number is equal to force into L. L I know. किती अंतरावर मी strain gauge bound केलाय fixed end पासून, that I know. So M upon L will give me F. This is how I can correlate resistance change in the strain gauge into to the force F. Now this is how my strain gauge can be used as force measuring transducer. Now look at this slide. Now I told you that delta R will be developed in the strain gauge corresponding to force F. Now what this slide says, so this delta R that is developed because of force F is very small. Though I said I can measure it, it is very difficult to measure this delta R. Just example he has given. For example, suppose the test specimen undergoes a strain of 500 micron, micro strain. The strain gauge with gauge factor of 2 will exhibit a change in electrical resistance of only 0.001 ohm. Ever small resistance, it is difficult to measure. Yesterday also, last class also, we discussed this relationship. Gauge factor of a strain gauge, just please be attentive. Gauge factor of a strain gauge is equal to dr by r upon epsilon. जर इकडे denominator ला घेतलं तर gauge factor will be equal to dr by r upon epsilon. What is epsilon? dl by l. So gauge factor of a strain gauge is equal to dr by r upon dl by l. Now if I take this dl by l on this side, I get dr by r is equal to gauge factor into epsilon. Now what is the meaning of this gauge factor then? Please be attentive. ऐका लक्ष सगळ्यांचं. Gauge factor is equal to, please listen to me very carefully. Gauge factor of a strain gauge is the ratio of unit change in resistance. What is this unit change in resistance? Change in resistance dr upon original resistance will give me unit change in resistance. Unit change in resistance. So gauge factor is the ratio of unit change in resistance. Epsilon denominator la give, corresponding to change in strain. Or corresponding to dl by l, unit change in length. म्हणजे एवढा लेंथ चेंज जर झाला तर एवढा रेजिस्टन्स चेंज माझा होईल, आणि दॅट विल गिव्ह मी द गेज फॅक्टर ऑफ अ स्ट्रेन गेज. हा गेज फॅक्टरची व्हॅल्यू कोण देणार आपल्याला? मॅन्युफॅक्चरर ऑफ द स्ट्रेन गेज देणार. म्हणजे इन अदर वर्ड्स, आपण स्टॅटिक प्रॉपर्टीज बघितल्या सेन्सर ट्रान्सड्युसरच्या. गेज फॅक्टर काय इंडिकेट करायला मला? विच स्टॅटिक प्रॉपर्टी इट इज इंडिकेटिंग? It is receiving, just be attentive. Gauge factor is equal to unit change in resistance corresponding to unit change in length, denominator. What it is showing me? It is showing me the sensitivity of my strain gauge. म्हणजे काय? Input is length change. Corresponding to this input length change, हा ट्रान्सड्यूसर काय करायला? It is converting that length change into resistance change. It is converting energy or parameter in one form into parameter in some other convenient form. कुठला parameter आहे? It is converting length parameter into resistance change parameter. Right? So it is, this gauge factor is telling me about sensitivity of this strain gauge. म्हणजे if I want my strain gauge to be more sensitive, काय असायला पाहिजे? Gauge factor should be higher and higher. Isn't it? गेज फॅक्टर जास्त असला म्हणजे काय? समजा गेज फॅक्टर 10 आहे, याचा अर्थ काय झाला? करस्पॉन्डिंग टू युनिट चेंज इन लेंथ आय एम गेटिंग 10 टाइम्स चेंज इन रेजिस्टन्स. बरोबर आहे की नाही? सो फॉर स्मॉल चेंज इन लेंथ आय एम गेटिंग लार्ज चेंज इन रेजिस्टन्स. सो द गेज फॅक्टर, इफ इट इज 10, But normally, whatever strain gauges those are manufactured commercially, those have normal value of 2, gauge factor of 2, right? A specialized application study, they can build the strain gauges with higher gauge factor even. But for all common applications, gauge factor is 2. याचा अर्थ काय? For unit change in length, I get twice the resistance change. एक unit change in length जर झाली, तर double change in resistance आपल्याला मिळतो. That's what this expression says. मग ह्याच्यावरनं काय सांगतो, जर ओरिजिनल रेजिस्टन्स माझा 120 ओहमचा स्ट्रेन गेज आहे, राईट, 120 ओहम. बघा आता ह्या एक्सप्रेशन कडे लक्ष द्या. कॅल्क्युलेटर असेल तर कॅल्क्युलेटर घेऊन बसा. dr by r. So dr I don't know. I want to find out. Let us say original resistance of the strain gauge is 120 ohm. Gauge factor is 2. आणि strain मी किती दिलाय? हा एवढा 500 मायक्रोस्ट्रेन दिलाय. 500 into 10 to the power minus 6 into gauge factor 2 into this original resistance of 120. What you get is around 0.12 ohm आपल्याला dr मिळतो. आलं का लक्षात? So corresponding to a strain, very high strain of 500 microstrain is very high strain. तर म्हणजे एवढा लोड लावून एवढा स्ट्रेन 500 मायक्रोस्ट्रेन मी अप्लाय केल्यानंतर how much is the resistance change I am getting? It is to the tune of 0.12 or 0.12 ohm, which is very small. माझ्या कन्व्हेन्शनल रेजिस्टन्स मेजरिंग सर्किट मधून मला 0.12 ओहम मेजर करायला इट इज व्हेरी डिफिकल्ट. ऑर इवन इफ आय मेजर, काय होणार आहे? स्मॉल एरर विल गिव्ह मी फॉल्स रीडिंग ऑफ strain. Okay, so this small error in this resistance measurement tends to give me large error. आणि म्हणून we need to have some balancing circuitry. Instead of measuring resistance, we build a circuitry, and through that circuitry, that resistance change is converted into some voltage change. And that is more convenient. Now that is done through this Wheatstone bridge. It's a 4-arm bridge, right? Out of these 4 arms, 4 arms are having resistances R1, R2, R3, R4. There are 4 resistances, because one of the resistances is made as the strain gauge. And then these 4 arms will have 4 apex points. We'll see the circuitry. Across 2 apex points, I'll be giving the supply voltage, and across the remaining 2 apex points, I'll be getting the output voltage. म्हणजे Wheatstone bridge काय करतोय? It is converting the resistance change into some equivalent voltage change. This is more convenient than measuring resistance change directly. म्हणजे ही स्लाइड काय सांगते आपल्याला? Importance of using Wheatstone bridge. Instead of measuring the resistance, which will be very small for a large amount of strain induced, instead of measuring the resistance change, this resistance change is converted into voltage change, and this voltage change will help me in getting the value of resistance change. The resistance change direct measure karat basnapeksha, measure the output voltage from the Wheatstone bridge and correlate this output voltage to resistance change. And through resistance change, I can correlate it with strain, stress, and then force. Right? That we'll see. So this is the importance of using Wheatstone bridge for measurement of strains through strain gauges. Let us move further. Just now, whatever I told, this is the Wheatstone bridge. It has got 4 arms: arm 1, arm 2, arm 3, and arm 4. Right? R1, R2, R3, and R4. 4 arms. So it's a Wheatstone bridge. आणि काय म्हणलं मी? ह्या 4 arms जेव्हा मी कनेक्ट केले, it will form a sort of bridge. Wheatstone नावाच्या गृहस्थाने अशा टाइपचा ब्रिज पहिल्यांदा डेव्हलप केला, म्हणून त्याचं नाव Wheatstone असं पडलंय. So it has got 4 arms having 4 resistances. मग हे जेव्हा कनेक्ट करतो मी, then I get 4 apex points. Let us say A, B, C, D. मग हे 2 A आणि C, across A and C, I give the input voltage. Normal input voltage किती देतो मी? Around 6 volt DC. I give some input voltage at 2 apex points, and remaining 2, हे 2 apex point राहिले. Across this, I measure the output voltage. Now this output voltage is of tune of some millivolt, or in some cases it is even microvolt. So this is the Wheatstone bridge. Across two apex points, I give input voltage. Across two apex points, I measure the output voltage. Right? Now, out of this, what is shown here, R4 माझा original resistance. समजा आता हे equations मध्ये आपण जाणार नाही. Now this bridge will be balanced. म्हणजे corresponding to some input voltage, there will be zero output voltage if the ratios of resistances are same. R1 by R2 is equal to R3 by R4. हा ratio जर maintain झाला, तर the output voltage will be zero. If the ratio of resistances is disturbed, then there will be some output voltage. Okay, now this is the condition for balancing of a Wheatstone bridge. आता काय करतो मी? Now I take this Wheatstone bridge. मगाशी आपण काय discuss केलं? I'm using a strain gauge. This is also sort of resistance only. Only thing is that it is a variable resistance. Now this variable resistance is variable because of what? A resistance कशामुळे change होतं? A strain gauge चा resistance कशामुळे change होतं? It is changing because of induction of strain. Strain कशामुळे change होतं? Because of application of load. Okay. So R4, I have removed R4 आणि त्या R4 च्या जागी मी एक strain gauge connect केला. Right? And this will be variable resistance. मग काय होणार आहे? Output voltage जरी original voltage माझा, let us say 120 volt, 120, हे तीन रेजिस्टन्सेस 120 ohms आहेत आणि this 120, 120, 120. आणि हा रेजिस्टन्स स्ट्रेन गेज पण ओरिजिनली लेट अस से इट इज I selected of 120 ohm value only. मग काय होईल? All the resistances are of same value originally in unloaded condition. R1 is of 120 ohm, R2 is of 120 ohm, R3 is of 120 ohm, and R4 is also of 120 ohm. मग output voltage काय आहे? If I measure the output voltage across these two apex points, I'm giving some 6 volt DC input voltage, and if I measure the output voltage in unloaded condition, because all the resistances are same and the resistance ratios are also same, the output voltage will be zero. Okay, so initially the bridge is balanced. Now, when I subject that let us come back to that original cantilever beam example. When I subject the cantilever beam to some external force F, because of that, there will be stresses induced in the beam. Because of the stresses induced in the beam, there will be strain on the surface of the beam, and that strain will be transferred to the strain gauge, which is mounted on the top surface of the beam. There will be resistance. Because of that strain, there will be resistance change of the beam, resistance change of the strain gauge. Now this resistance change in one of the arms of the Wheatstone bridge, this resistance R4 is changing now. Now, will this Wheatstone bridge will give me zero output voltage? No, because the bridge is unbalanced now. Why it is unbalanced? Because one of the arms resistance is changing. Now, once the resistance changes, the bridge becomes unbalanced. And because of the unbalance in the bridge, I'll be getting some output voltage, which is normally to the tune of some millivolts, or some microvolts, or some millivolts. Now that delta V, small change in voltage, will be proportional to small change in resistance delta R. Now this small change in resistance delta R will be proportional to small change in length, that is delta L. Now this small change in length delta L is proportional to bending stress sigma B. Now this bending stress sigma B will be proportional to applied force F. Right? म्हणजे काय झालं? I can use this Wheatstone bridge with a strain gauge in one of the arms. I'll be able to measure force in terms of output voltage V, output voltage, some E naught म्हणू आपण, some millivolt E naught. Because of the load, applied load on the strain gauge beam, on the load cell beam, cantilever beam, I'll be getting some output voltage through this Wheatstone bridge. I repeat, this output voltage delta V will be proportional to delta R of this strain gauge, and this delta R of the strain gauge will be proportional to epsilon or delta L of this strain gauge material. Now this delta L is same as delta L in the specimen material. Now this delta L in the specimen material will be related to stress induced in the beam. Now that stress induced in the beam is related to force F acting on the beam. This is how my output voltage can be correlated with applied force F. This is how strain gauge can be used as a load transducer or force transducer. Friends, we'll stop for today.